Okay, hydrogen gas. Yeah, that's the Hindenburg. I was actually trying to find a video of a battery exploding. I figured there's got to be something on the internet, but
We can do it in class.
Polymer batteries exploding.
what?
It's probably LiPo if you find any video.
Yeah. Okay, so according to the interwebs, hydrogen gas does not have a smell. It is the hydrogen sulfide coming out of the battery that has it. It's the sulfide part that smells, not the hydrogen part. But I will tell you this fun story. So where I used to work, when I first started there, it changed a lot over the years that I worked there. Way much better place. But when I first started there, it was a deep recession, no aircraft jobs available, and this is the only one I could find. And I ended up falling in love with the place, especially after it was bought out. But in the paint room, mind you, we did fabric restoration. It was actually well known for some of its great restoration work. And we even did, you guys familiar with the AOPA? They give away a plane every year. One year we actually built the giveaway plane. So, yeah, it was fun. Piper Pacer.
Okay.
The timeless tri-pacer, as they called it. I think somewhere I got a clip of it. But anyway, so in the fabric paint room, there was a box on the wall. What is a box on the wall? Well, it just had a couple big black knobs and a little dial on it and a couple of leads that were, more than its fair share of electrical tape around them. And so what is that? It's a battery charger. Okay, mounted to the wall. So anyway, as I watched the guy do it one day, we had a battery came in and it was pretty much no good anymore. And why is it no good?
The lead sulfate.
It's got lead sulfate on there. There is a way to get rid of lead sulfate, and there are tricks out there. One trick is to drop it. And one year a student brought a battery, one of my batteries. I'm like, what the hell happened to it? I mean, the corner was all bashed in. He's like, well, I did what you said, I dropped it. Okay, you'd actually have to drop it like perfectly square, and maybe some of the lead sulfate will get knocked off, and there's an area down below where it collects and doesn't short out the plates. So there's that trick. You can buy little electronic gadgets that pulsate high frequency that are supposed to knock off the lead sulfate. Well, this particular, I won't use his name, his way of doing it was to hook it up to this old-timey battery charger we had and turn it way up. And you would walk into the room like, oh my gosh, the whole room was full of hydrogen gas, and there was a wet spot around the battery like this. Because you can see it just spewing out of every single
It worked
vent.
every time, I tell you what.
Yeah. Wow. Now, the best part about that is, that was bad enough itself, but in this particular room, and this place had been there since the early 40s, and some stuff at this point hadn't been revamped. So in the fabric room, somebody had rigged 1x4s, I don't know, 12 feet, by 4 feet, but just a framework, and then bought those porcelain receptacles for light bulbs. And so there'd be a Romex. You guys know what Romex wire is. It's a house wire. So it'd go in and then it'd loop and go to the next one and the next one. And when people are in there spraying stuff with these heat lamps on, when they wanted to hang the gun up, they would hang it on the Romex. And a spark would come out and that light would go out. Then when you lift the gun back up, it would make contact and it would spark again. The light would come back on. I'm like, holy crap, man. Yeah. You guys ever, and as you're spraying fabric stuff, with dope and stuff, it's highly flammable. You ever caught the stuff on fire? Oh, now that you mention it, yes. All right.
Damn.
New owner got rid of all of this bad stuff.
Man, it
Yes.
stinks. I don't like match.
I know, yeah. Smells like a fart. I'm light a match. Okay. You get this is what happens. So don't do that. Okay. Why does it do that? Okay, here we're back over here. All right. Let's see. So ratings. We were going to talk about construction. Construction. All right, construction. How would you say? Well, we kind of sort of went over that. Construction. One battery consists of a group of cells. So one battery. Oh, not using the right pen. Hang on. Please stand by. Oh, it's got to look good. We got it going now. One battery consists of a group of cells. In fact, it's funny, I was reading one book that said, well, a battery means, come on, Mr. Marine, what's a battery?
Battery, like an artillery
Yeah,
battery?
yeah.
Oh, a bunch of cells, bunch of rooms together.
It is. A battery is supposed to be a bunch of like things. Like artillery, I guess. I didn't know that, but so a battery is a bunch of like cells put together for a battery. Consists of a group of cells connected in
Series.
connected in series and encased together. Each cell has a positive or not A, has positive and negative plates. Positive and negative plates alternating. Negative plates with alternating. Sorry, I'll get my crap together. With alternating. It's alternating. Nope, I want to do alternating. I knew it didn't make sense. Alternating. With, okay, I'm making an insulating material.
So when it says alternating insulating material, is it like positive, negative insulator, or is it?
I will tell you.
Is there?
Called separators. Right, these plates are very, very close together, right? Because you want to make the battery as compact and as small as you can. Ideally, I mean, the engineer would say, well, a battery this big would work great, but we can't. You got to get it smaller than this. This is much larger than the battery in my aircraft. My aircraft battery is a third as wide and 2/3 as wide, about 2/3 as tall. Probably has more amps in this in it. But inside of here, and it's really not a great idea to touch this stuff because it is lead, but there we go. It has the cardboard pieces that are in there. So those are the separators. Without the separators, if these touch, what do we get?
Short.
Short. So you got to have those separators. In the video, he had the white ones, the mechanical separators. So we have the separators.
Just like wicks, pretty much for the electrolyte.
Yes. Okay. Not so much in this one because it's a flooded battery, so it's already flooded. But in the there's different types of battery we talk about where they do act as wicks or sponges to hold the electrolyte. Absolutely. Let's see. Let me see. Separators. The plates. Plates. What are the plates? We have, actually plates should be out here. There, plates. Like that. Plates. plates. They are made of a lead compound. We have the positive plate. That is lead peroxide. I doubt this will let me do it. PB02. Not that it matters. Did not think it would allow that. Too much trouble. 2. All right, and where's my negative plates? Our negative plate is pure spongy lead. That's just PB. See what that does. Nope. Like SpongeBob, but a little bit different.
What's the point of it being made out of lead, not like copper or something?
Because those are the materials that give off the voltage. Why is it not made out of something else? Why lead? Because lead's heavy. Well, that's the dissimilar the metal that gives you the
Reacts better.
the react.
Copper doesn't really react.
Yeah, the reaction that you get. All right.
How does it react with acid?
This is bothering me that this whole like everything is off. Yeah. That didn't help. No, such is life. Pure spongy lead, let me see. Each cell produces about, how many volts?
2 volts.
1.
2.1 volts. Is that open circuit or closed circuit?
Open.
Okay. My notes actually have it as open circuit voltage and 2.0 CCV when fully charged. Ooh, that's not a word. When fully charged. All right, so each cell produces that. Cells are then placed into a box, a container. I don't think I need to write this. Made out of hard plastic or metal. Well, if I skip something, I'll regret it. Cells are placed. Into a box. Into a butt. Into a box. Or cell container. And that is made of hard plastic or metal.
So, what kind of metal would they use since isn't it producing electrical type?
Well, I'm glad you asked that because even though my notes say that, it's sort of not true.
You know,
and I will explain why. Now, all right, so if it is a battery like this, where we have the plates that are floating in there, a lead acid battery such as this, it has to be a plastic container. It cannot be metal. That would not work as far as I know. That would be very bad. But now you are seeing in the lab, some people have these white cells, your NiCad cells. Each cell is individually wrapped and contained in a plastic container. Those plastic containers are bolted together and then they go into a metal box.
And that's
So
your insulator.
that is, what's that?
The insulator, they talk about checking insulation.
They talk about making sure that it's not leaking through into the metal with the megometer. Let me see. I don't always remember if I talk about stuff. So, all right, so we have the hard plastic or metal. Hey, have you ever heard the thing, don't ever leave a battery laying on the concrete floor?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I researched that one, and that used to be true a very, very long time ago. The compounds that they used to make the boxes out of were conductive to a point that if you set a battery on concrete, it would ground and it would discharge the battery. The battery would then go into discharge state, which causes lead sulfation, which caused the battery to go bad. So yes, back a long, long time ago, I don't know how long ago, but apparently it's quite some time ago, that was true. So here becomes the problem. You go to work for a shop somewhere, you know the truth, you've got a battery, what do you do with it? Never put it on the floor, because somebody will come along and tell you you're an idiot for putting it on the floor, and you're going to be like, yeah, that's not really true. It's not worth it. It's just, so you'll never see me put a battery on the floor. Why? I don't want to hear about it. It's just,
Oh, Grandpappy told me one
I
day.
know, yeah. It's like I don't want to really have to defend that argument. So, and if somebody doesn't say something, they're just going to walk by and shake their head and go, "Guy's an idiot. He doesn't know anything about batteries." So it's like, just
Yeah, then you get a bad look. It looks bad.
it does. So it's just better to just just play along. Don't fight
Put
it.
it upside down.
Yes. Made a hard
Drop it
plastic.
from up here.
Metal, let me see. Metal. So each frame has a grid. That contains the active material. Okay, so this is kind of important here. So I guess, yeah, that's the word I wanted. More motor rail.
Motor oil.
Well, it's better than you guys continue to ask me, what's that word? I'm like, I don't know. I can't read it either. All right. So the plates sit on a shelf. The plates sit on, well, it's little shelves is what I have in here, but on a shelf with space below. With space below. That might be a Q&A question. The space, what did I write there? Each set of plates to its own shelf. Okay, so the space, changing it to space, allows debris to collect without shorting out. The plates. So you got that space below down here. You can't see it, but if you look at this battery, you would see that the plate ends right about where this plastic is. The plastic actually comes out. And down below, there is some space down there. It's all of this right here. So there's an inch, about an inch of space down there. That's the garbage collection area.
So is it kind of like a toaster?
A what?
Like a toaster?
It's where the breadcrumbs go.
Well, what if enough breadcrumbs build up?
What's the thing you make when you do toaster shakens? You got toaster shakens and butter. When I was poor, that's all we had for supper. All right. Well, I just wrote that. Okay, so the space below the plates allows for debris to accumulate without shorting the cells. Hey, I did a good job with what I was going to write.
Well, you gotta change your battery filter then.
Battery filter. That is good. You know how much a battery filter costs? It's mostly labor, but you're going to need your battery filter changed.
You better get a raise after that one.
The top of each cell, or the plates that make up the cell, will have a lug to connect to the next cell. So you can see the little lugs right here. I really shouldn't mess with this.
You want
Gloves.
or more
That's
technical?
Yeah.
Wanna get a lift?
Sure, hold on. I'm gonna get the, you know what happens when you get the lead poisoning, I'll become stupider.
What's that means?
No, bro, we'll break it.
They have holes in the grids?
There we
Oh, there
Oh. Okay, so there's one set of, I wanted to do that, so that's one set of plates. We have the,
It's all bent now, it's gonna
Oh.
short out.
separator, and what plate is that then? Well, it's one of the other plates. So we have the
Well, that's
positive
neat.
plate, the negative plate in there.
Okay. Active demonstration.
I like how on the outside it makes it look like it's, you know, this big, and then the inside it's just missing a bunch of pieces. Selling me bill of goods. So, all right, then we have the lug on top. That goes to the very next one. Same thing with the NiCad. They have the lugs on top, which we connect, talk about that. Let's see. We can see cells are connected together to get proper voltage. We did that. Oh, okay, so how many volts do we get per cell?
2.
2.1.
What if I made this thing twice as big?
You get more amperage.
Yeah, because look at, actually, it's what they did with this battery. You go down here towards this side, and they just get bigger and bigger and bigger. But how many volts?
1.1.
So we can just call it 2, nominal. 2.1. 2.1 volts. So it doesn't matter. You just get more amperage. Okay. Then on top, we have vent caps. And this is kind of important. Vent caps allow oxygen, or allow vent caps, yeah.
Excuse me.
Vent caps allow gases to escape. So while we are charging the battery, it is going to outgas. Let me grab something out of my office.
You can go off gas in your office. My dead cat.
Oh, Google it.
That's the part where we outgas that in the shower.
That's enough out of you, Maureen.
Teacher hasn't been here for 15 minutes, that means we get to go.
This doesn't mean
Lock the doors.
This means go.
I don't understand that. It's like the institution that you can't legally leave at any time.
I think in the case of Kevin, if he hasn't been here for 15 minutes, he would.
Well, I had a teacher in middle school, in high school that would just never no show.
I had some vent caps that are really kind of cool. It's really interesting how they work. It's a conical lead weight, and when the battery tilts, it tilts, and it has a little thing on it that pulls up on the bottom, and it seals the battery. And when it goes level, it drops down. So it's really weird to watch it. How when you move it, the little thing goes pink.
You didn't have those in your battery though after it spilled in your car?
It did. It did. It actually stopped most of the acid from coming out, but it still leaked a little bit. So vent caps. So with these vent caps, when you're charging the battery, you're depending upon if you have these vent caps. These just tap down. Aircraft batteries screw with an O-ring, so they actually sealed pretty well. If you are not, if they were to plug up and you're charging the battery, and remember the story I had where it's really bubbling hard. Well, it bubbles pretty good even under a couple of amps. And you'll see that it wants to gas out. And if you were to have a vent cap that was plugged up and you had it nice and tight on there, what happens to the battery?
Build up a lot of pressure.
Yep, it starts swelling up a little bit. And
Is
getting
that
all-
why when you have a dead battery, they kind of get all puffed up, puffed and fished?
A dead battery?
A dead
No,
battery on a car?
no, no.
You never seen that?
I never heard of that.
Yeah, some do though because they short out and then it heats up and that's what causes it. But so anyway, I always say, I think it's in the book, I don't know, unscrew the caps. So when I'm charging, working on lead acid batteries, our aircraft batteries that have the screw on caps, I unloosen all the screw caps so that gases can get around the threads and work their way out to prevent the battery from expanding and exploding, which would be very bad.
Is there any good way to test the caps? Like, so if you needed to replace them when you're servicing it?
I wish I could find my one.
Put it
But-
upside down and see if it
But what I did forget all about, it's completely off the subject here real quick, is one of your projects is to build a, hang on. Let me just,
Drone versus 130.
all right, these are the vent caps. And if you turn the light on for me, they're both on now. I'll pass it around so you can see the bottom when you turn it, just a little bit, the little button just pops up in there like, well, how'd you do that? It's kind of cool. It's magic. Piece of lead that just sits in here.
You and dropping lead.
And so you can see just when you go sideways how it just pulls it up. Once you see it like that, you're like, oh, I get it. So I want to make sure that those are clear. And just to be sure, because you can see there are very tiny little holes, very small little holes. We want to make sure that we loosen the caps up when we're charging them up. Let's see. Yeah, caps use conical weights to close vent when battery is at an angle, preventing a spillage during maneuvers. One vent per cell. If the vents are plugged, not common, the battery can bulge.
And then,
Um,
yeah, you want to find that. All right, you want it?
Battery is filled. With what? Come on.
70%.
Well, we'll call electrolyte. Electrolyte. And that consists of
70% water, 30%.
70% water and 30% sulfuric acid.
No problem.
Sulfuric acid. Now don't drop it. Come on.
I saw your example.
I know. I don't know why you did it, but okay, I dropped it too.
Just to make sure it works.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the flooded battery. Then we have the sealed. the sealed lead acid.
Solar.
Hey, don't blame me.
Gold battery.
Yep, that's it. Sure, write that. The sealed lead acid battery. All the manufacturers are going to this type of battery now. Gill has theirs. We bought several $1,000s worth of these batteries, and somebody in their wisdom who ordered them, who's no longer with us, or he's not dead, he's just put them in a spot where nobody could use them. And what happens to a battery that you buy that nobody's allowed to use for 5 years?
It discharges.
Well, do they come deactivated or do they?
Oh, they come activated. You know what? Shoot, I should really add some more stuff here. Because you brought that up. So, flooded batteries. Yeah, we'll go flooded. Often. Flooded batteries often come dry charged. And so what that means is you order one, like I said, Aircraft Spruce up there, you order one of these like Gill flooded batteries, because I don't think Concord makes this type of battery at all. They come without any fluid in them at all. They're completely dry and 100% charged. Maybe not 100%. They're charged. They're charged to the point where I know they'll work. And you order the acid separately. And it means that you have to activate it. So it is flooded batteries come dry charged. Mechanic charges in the field. So you actually get a bottle of acid. Let me see if we can look that up. What do we got? Oh. Spruce, let's see. Let's take a look at batteries. Gill batteries. So now they're sealed. So here we go. With acid and battery without acid. So you're going to buy that without acid. How many volts is that battery?
That is a 24-volt battery.
Yes, how do we know that?
There's 12 cells.
12 cells. I was going to say, it probably just says right here 24 volts. Let's see. There should be a customer's bought with the electrolyte. So you buy the electrolyte separate.
How much is it?
Well, let's add it to cart. 3 quarts. Let's see. $26.50.
Plus probably like a hazardous shipping fee or something like that.
Yeah, it's in stock. So what and there's instructions, of course, it comes with it, and you're supposed to, if you just pour this stuff in and put the caps on, you can stick it in an airplane, it'll work. But you violated the instructions for activation and airworthiness, so I wouldn't do that, but I do know people, not me, who actually, I've seen them do it, that's how I know it works. It's really not that difficult to follow the directions where you put the stuff in and you put it on a topping charge and you charge it for a period of time and then you put it in the airplane. It's just not that much harder to do it the right way and not have to worry about it. But anyway, so yeah, so they come dry charged. But if we go back, let's see, Gill batteries.
Now, does it usually come pre-diluted or is it
Yeah,
concentrate?
yeah, it's pre-diluted. It's
Or straight in.
poured straight in.
Oh, okay.
Whoa.
That's the
The battery's $4,000.
What's that?
Battery's $3,225.
Yep. That's your sealed lead acid. Oh, that ain't nothing. That ain't nothing yet.
Yeah, we looked at the NiCad the other day. It was a $14,500 battery.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put that
All right, so here's
Corolla.
now the Gill version of these sealed batteries that we're about to talk about. I don't know what would be go in my plane, probably something like this. 394.
So, is there core charges on batteries too usually?
I don't want you. No, but I was at a Concord training thing last year, and they had mentioned that lead acid batteries are 100% recyclable.
Just
throw them in the recycling bin.
I throw them in the river.
Yeah. It came from the earth, you can go back to it.
No electrolyte required. Let's see. Non-spillable. 2-year factory warranty after installation. Ooh. But they wouldn't warranty the stuff we had. We never installed them. They're like, not warranty. Robust starts. You see, first capacity check. First capacity check not required until 18 months or 1,800 hours. That's nice. There. VRLA. We're going to talk a lot about that. Bar law. Let's see. Concord.
Good stuff.
There we go. That's the one I put in my plane. They're a little bit more pricey.
Platinum.
Yeah, it's the AXC extra cranking. So you can see there's a definite price difference between the two competitors. All right. So we just wanted to bring that up. So the flooded batteries come dry charged. You charge them in the field. So all right, now it's back to sealed lead acid batteries. Also known as the valve regulated lead acid battery. VRLA battery, which is valve regulated valve.
Those are the maintenance-free ones, are they?
They are
Quote unquote maintenance free.
maintenance free. Yes, definitely put that in quotes.
Till you-
Why are they in quotes? You don't add water or electrolyte. So I had one of these in my, I think I told you this, my Cessna 150 before I bought it. And so I went in partners with somebody on it. And Joe's a really cool guy, and he's a really smart guy. In fact, he's very intelligent. You know, in his spare time, he likes to figure out how to connect, you know, like his garage door opener to his phone. I'm like, well, they make things you can do that. Oh, I want to build it myself. And in fact, in our airplane, he wanted to build a little box that plugged into it that had, you know, voice activated everything. Warning, oil pressure is low. And, you know, so he loves doing that. So he's,
Like
so he's
Bitching Betty?
huh?
Like Bitching
He
Betty?
did, yes. So, and I wanted to prove it, to put it in our airplane. I'm like, you can't do that. Anyway, before I bought it, we had the Concord VRLA battery, the maintenance-free. And so for whatever reason, he took a screwdriver and he pried the top off. And then below that, there's some more things, and he pried those off. He looked down in there and he said, well, there's your problem. It's not full of fluid. I shall add fluid. What would a normal person put battery fluid in? What would you add?
Water.
What kind of water?
Distilled.
Distilled water. And so, not him. He got the acid stuff and filled it up. And then put the caps back on it. Battery flew it, came back, and it spewed acid over everything. You can see where it came up the firewall, down, and took the paint off the belly. So,
Is he an AMTP?
wasn't a great paint job anyway, but it was at least polished aluminum and not spot now, so don't do that. Speaking of distilled, what is distilled water?
Isn't it boiled?
Evaporated.
You can always tell the people who don't know how to make
It's
moonshine.
evaporated in, yes.
Boiled and condensed.
It's evaporated and caught in a different receptacle so that it doesn't contain any of the mineral that was in the water originally.
Yeah.
Some mineral free.
So that is the only thing you should put in a battery because the minerals are bad for it.
Is there imperfections?
So I was working at the place and with the battery charger and stuff. And mind you, it's out in the country. It's on the Delta. The well was next to where they dump chemicals. And so in the morning, they would come in and just turn the sink on, and it would come out brown for an hour or two. They just let it run all day. I'm like, you let the water run. No, don't turn it off. You know, and okay. And so I'm working on a battery and it's low, and so I need to add
Water.
it's this type. I need to add water, so I asked for
Distilled water.
distilled water, and the guy's no problem, and he brings out a little cup and it says distilled water, and it's a nice little squeezy cup that you put it in. I filled the battery, and I did a couple more batteries in service, and eventually we got low, and I said I need more distilled water. He said okay. Took the cap off, walked up to the sink, filled it up. No, here's the funny part. I said, dude, you're supposed to be using distilled water. And he was dead serious. He goes, I know. You have to wait for it to get stilled. I said, what? It's like, distilled water. It's stilled. It's like it sets for a while. That's not what that means.
Like, dude, you're supposed to use Perrier. Okay?
And he was the salt of the earth, just a wonderful guy, and but he honestly thought that, and I'm like, that's not what that means. And he was a little irritated afterwards, like, why do people not tell me these things? I'm like, well, I just did, Well,
How did he get his A&P?
he didn't.
Without knowing.
And he works for like a
He was not an A&P. He was just a guy they brought in because he was a nice guy, and he was a very good mechanic. He can fix a lot of things, but he just didn't know that stuff. So, all right. Okay. So the valve-regulated lead-acid battery, that is same chemical operation as the flooded. Same chemical operation, which when we talk about the chemical operation, the things we need to know are, we'll put that, need to know. What do we need to know about that chemical operation?
That's working.
As the battery discharges,
the electrolyte goes down.
what do you mean by down?
Or the density goes down.
Okay.
So it becomes more water.
Electrolyte becomes more like water.
Because all the acid is attaching itself to the plates, right?
We'll go with that. And I see it's time to go, so we will stop here.